Hey guys, what is going on? Alex here and I'm back for another deck profile. So I've got a bit of an explanation for why I literally vanished. Now, I did say I was going to start making videos again, and I have been trying to get back into that zone of trying to make videos. There's a couple problems that I've had to struggle with recently. Recently, I was in hospital. I have a condition, majority of people will know what it is, called epilepsy. This is where I have seizures, and these seizures aren't due to flashing lights, mainly just stuff like stress, lack of like sleep and all this sort of stuff. And I was in hospital for it because, it was pretty bad. And I've really just wanted to get these videos out and try and get some new profiles out. So today's video is going to be Dragon Link. This was actually supposed to be a Lyrilusk deck profile. However, the stupid guy on eBay cancelled multiple cards that I was supposed to get, including Utopic Draco Future and the Wagtail. Now, these cards are actually mandatory when it comes to playing Lyrilusk. And bear in mind, this isn't bird up version. This would actually be pure Lyrilusk. And obviously, apart from that, this deck I really wanted to get out for you guys. Unfortunately, because I was in hospital and everything, I really couldn't do anything. I really couldn't make these videos, but I'm trying to get back into the mix and I really want to get some deck profiles out for you. If you want to see some casual decks as well, so say if you're, just a casual player who just likes to, play for fun, doesn't really care about the meta and only really wants to play some like fun decks, I'm more than happy to make these decks. I own so many decks. I have something which I call the Vault, which is pretty much packed with archetypes galore. And I can easily make these deck profiles for you guys. If you want to see some casual decks, I'm more than happy to make them for you and rather just, stay away from the meta. So today's deck profile is going to be Dragon Link. Now, Dragon Link, in my opinion, has to be one of the decks that is heavily underrated in this deck, in this meta. Now, this is not a pick up and play deck. This is a deck where you have to know what you're doing. You have to be able to get your combos going, because if you don't know really what you're doing, you really are going to struggle. So I'm not actually going to be making a combo part of this video. What I will recommend though is to check Gabriel Nets' combo video when it comes to Dragon Link. He has won loads of tournaments, locals, everything with Dragon Link, because he's just fantastic with his skill in the game. And honestly, check the video out. His combos are fantastic and really worth watching if you are interested in this deck. So the whole thing with Dragon Link and why I like it is, though the deck can cost I would say over £100, this is a deck that probably will never get hit because of the fact that this is a skill-based deck. You have to know what you're doing when you're playing this deck. But overall, this deck is really good in the meta because of the fact that there are certain cards that we can play in this deck that really do shut loads of decks off that are currently stomping in the meta. So we're going to go straight into the deck profile, and I'm going to speak straight away on what sort of cards we are playing. So this is a 43 or 44 card deck. I'm going to go into an explanation for why that is later on into the video. So for our monsters, we are playing 3 copies of Rokket Tracer. This is your main. The Rokket engine really is what makes the deck really busted, because of the fact that, of course, cards like Boot Sector Launch, being able to special summon directly from the hand, it's really good. Just in general, the Rokket engine and Tracer's effect just to pop cards and be able to summon from the deck is absolutely fantastic. Playing 2 copies of Rokket Synchron, no need to play 3. 2 is perfect. It's actually not bad of a normal summon as well if you are going first and you have an extender like a Noctivision in your hand. However, the only downside of this card is if you do draw into it and have nothing really in your graveyard, you're going to be a little bit of a disadvantage. But if you do have the Rokket Tracer and you're trying to go a little bit further when it comes down to certain plays, this is really good. The one Rokket Recharger, this is a bit more of like a garnet. And yeah, so you don't really want to draw this. You kind of just want to pop your Boot Sector Launch and be able to summon Rokket Recharger from the deck. And then we're playing 2 Absolrauta. this is your like card you would send to the graveyard via Ravine, or if you have it in your hand, then you would discard it. And yeah, you discard it and then be able to get your free search, mainly for your Rokket Tracer. Very, very strong card in general. And in my opinion, this setup is absolutely perfect. I wouldn't change it. I wouldn't increase Absol to 3. I think 2 is more than enough. So going on to our Chaos engine, Chaos Dragons. The Chaos Dragons are basically what kind of makes the deck stronger than it should be. We're playing 2 copies of technically like the baby Chaos Dragon. So 1 Collapse Serpent, 1 Wyver Burster. These are searchable off of our Chaos space. Overall, just a really, really nuts engine to play. We're playing the 1 Levy. You don't need to bump Levy up in any way, shape, or form. 1 is enough. Remember that we are playing 3 copies of Starliege Safer. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about Starliege Safer in a short duration of time as well. But Starliege Safer is really what allows you to go into a lot of 1-card combos, because you normal summon it, send it to the graveyard, and then pretty much just get your search on mainly the Dark Dragon, so you can start going into these really nasty plays. And if you do have, say, a Noctivision in your hand, then you can instantly just go for the Romulus and keep the Striker Dragon for later plays, which is really, really good. And obviously the last extender I'm playing when it comes to this is triple Noctivision. This card is actually broken. The fact that it has sorry about that, it has the 2 effects of being able to special summon after you summon a Dark Dragon, and being able to get the draw when you use the card as link material, really helps out the deck. Now, if you are playing 2 copies of Starliege Safer, which loads of people do because loads of decks just run Brotor. I don't run Brotor in this. Because you run Brotor, you can knock the Noctivision down. Kind of a bit of a joke there. You can lower the amount of Noctivisions you can play, and I would probably say play 2, because you are lowering the amount of normal summons that you are playing. And a lot of the time, this deck can make these insane combos without having to use the normal summon. So obviously, Noctivision being that sort of card that's just going to be in your hand, you know, just overall really, really good to be able to get that free extension and that draw. Onto our Red MD package. We're playing the 1, obviously, Red MD and the 2 Black Metal Dragon. Now, this is actually something to do with, I would say, the Dragon Maid engine as well, because the one thing that I noticed is when I tried the deck and was playing Brotor, it was actually better to play 3 copies of Black Metal Dragon and drop Safer to 2. And the main reason for why that is because this again is a normal summon 1-card combo, because of the fact that you're able to summon the Black Metal Dragon, get the Red MD, and be able to chain block as well, is just overall fantastic. Now, Red MD to me looks like a card that's more than likely going to go back to 3 in a couple ban list time, maybe the next ban list, hopefully. But I think personally the card should come off. It's not going to do anything. And I would still say running 1 is enough, because you don't really want to, hard drawing it is good, but it's bad at the same time, because you want to be able to keep the hand advantage as much as possible. So for our last dragon card, I'm playing the 1 chamber Dragon Maid. I really did underestimate how good this card and this engine actually is. This is what allows so many loops and will really, really help you go into these nasty plays with the Dragon Maid Tidying. Dragon Maid Tidying being a fantastic card. This is the card that you're tending to always going to summon after you tribute the Hieratic Seal of Heavenly Spheres. It's because you can just instantly get that draw. And if you have the IP Masquerena in your hand, you can obviously, on the field, sorry, you can actually discard the Tidying and use this as material to go into your Nightmare Unicorn, which was that will obviously can't be destroyed by card effects because of IP Masquerena. And then you have a setup for next turn where you can basically just banish the Tidying, special summon the Maid, and then add a Tidying to your hand, which is overall just busted. Like, it's just so loopy, very, very powerful. Overall, I would say this is like a, you know, I would say it comes down to preference on whether or not you want to run Brotor. However, considering Maid got reprinted and is a lot cheaper, I would highly suggest playing the Chambermaid because she is just really, really good in this deck. But Brotor is fine if you don't really want to play it. For our hand traps, it's actually just very simple, to be honest. I'm not actually running Nibiru in the main deck. I'm actually just playing 3 Ash and the 3 Veilers. Now, this sounds like it's not really that much, but the real reason for why I decided to drop my hand traps down a little bit is actually because of Noctivision and Chaos Space. And the reason for why that is obviously the drawing. Now, obviously, people are going to say, well, isn't it better to draw into your hand traps? Yes and no. And the reason why I say no is because of the fact that when you draw into like some dragon cards, if you say draw into your Safer, off of saying like the say off of the Chaos Space or the Noctivision, you can actually use that card as good material to send with send when you activate the Dragon's Ravine's effect, and actually be able to send the Cipher to the discard the Cipher and get the Legionnaire, banish the Cipher to add the Legionnaire back to your hand from the graveyard, creating a really, really tough experience for your opponent. Overall, this is just an extremely, in my opinion, good ratio to play, considering we are playing 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence on top of that. Now, again, this comes down to preference. In my opinion, this is the correct way to utilize it, and the main reason for why I don't run way too many hand traps. And obviously, today I'm actually going to showcase you my side deck. I don't really like showing my side deck, but I will show you my side deck today. Reason mainly I don't like showing it is because a lot of people from my locals tend to watch this and then will know what I'm playing next tournament. I don't really want them to know that. So yeah, going on to our spell cards, I'm playing obviously the 1 Dragon's Ravine, 1 Boot Sector Launch, triple Chaos Space. This card is busted. Being able to just get the discard and obviously just add to your hand, being able to get the draw afterwards, considering it's you know, you can use both effects once per turn, which is what makes this card so nuts. Because obviously what will happen is a majority of the time you will use Wyver Burster's effect, summon itself when you say discard, banish a card, go into your combo, say if you go into your Striker Dragon or your Romulus, and then be able to search the other Chaos Dragon, and then straight afterwards you'd be able to banish the card, recycle what's in the graveyard, and then summon back from the graveyard, send the card back to the deck, get your draw off, and it basically feels like you have absolutely not really done anything, and you haven't lost any cards in your hand. Sorry if that sounds like complete gibberish, but hopefully you guys just know what this card does. This card is absolutely nuts. Quick launch, we're playing 3 copies of it. This is, you know, probably one of the best extenders in the game when it comes to the Rokket cards just in general. Instant access to a Rokket Tracer or a Rokket Synchron, depending on what place you're trying to go for. This is by far one of the best extenders, considering it's not even a flipping hard once per turn. And then my last card that I'm playing now, this isn't actually mandatory, but I really like it. I'm actually main decking 3 copies of Triple Tactics Talent. Now, the main reason for why this is, again, it goes back to what I was saying when it comes to the drawing. And when you draw into more dragons, a lot of the time, what you're going to end up doing is you're going to be gaining more hand advantage, be able to either summon, normal summon, depending on if you haven't used your normal summon, and get the discard. And at the same time, you can use Levionnaire's effect, rip a card out of your opponent's hand. And the whole thing with talents as well is if your opponent's interfered and you have a talents in your hand, you can actually just rip another card out. So your opponent is forced to drop down to 3 cards in their hand from having the 5. Now, depending, obviously, if they're using a hand trap on you, that drops their hand to 2. And obviously, when it comes to the draw phase, they're going to be at a serious disadvantage. And being able to look at your opponent's hand, being able to see what they're playing is absolutely fantastic. Very, very powerful card. just in general. But I wouldn't say it's mandatory to play. A lot of time people do just side deck the card. I prefer main decking it, but this is a card that tends to be a card I will side out depending on what the situation is. And then the last card we're playing is 2 copies of Dragonmaid Tidying. Very, very broken card when it comes down to the relationship that this has with the Chambermaid and the Hieratic Seal of Heavenly Spheres, because a lot of the what tends to always happen is you tribute the spheres, summon the maid, add the tidying, discard, go for your unicorn, this goes to the graveyard, next turn banish, search again, and you actually have plays for next turn in general. So during your opponent's turn, you're actually setting up for your turn at the same time, which is what really makes the maid engine just really, really good. So I play the 2 tidying. I wouldn't suggest playing 3 because it can be a bit bricky, but I would say this is the correct ratio to actually play the cards. Now on to the extra deck. We're playing the 1 copy of Striker Dragon, limited and limited for good reasons. The 1 copy of Guard Dragon Pisty, very powerful card, getting that res. The 1 triple burst dragon, you tend to only use this to link climb. Apart from that, you don't necessarily use it for the phase. Now if you get locked into going into darks, then obviously this is a great card to link climb into if you want to go into your access code. But yeah, overall this card is actually pretty damn good. 1 quad borrow, I actually really underrated this card when it comes to playing this deck. Now a lot of the time you'd be discarding, say, a Rokket card or just a safer in your hand, so you can go for the Legionnaire, and be able just to create these insane boards and insane plays. I tend to not summon this turn 1. I tend to summon this a bit further down into the game, depending on what the situation is. And a lot of the time, if I do go for it, then I'll try and go into the access code talker that I'd actually need to be able to make these climbing plays. This is a really, really busted card. The 1 Romulus. Search is your the good old Dragon's Ravine. Now the one thing that I will have to say about Romulus that loads of people completely forget 24/7, do not forget that this card special summons from special summons cards from your hand. Now they can't be used as link material, but they can be used as synchro material, which is extremely important because of the fact that the synchro cards that we play in here are so important when it comes to this deck. We're playing 2 Hieratic Seal of Heavenly Spheres. This is extremely standard. I mean, loads of people play 3. I tried 3 and I never felt myself ever going into the 3rd one. I think 2 is absolutely fine. But if you feel uncomfortable and feel like you need to go into 3, feel more than welcome. I play the 1 IP Masquerena with the 1 Nightmare Unicorn. You tend to use, say, your Chambermaid and then go into your Unicorn using the Chambermaid. And yeah, IP Masquerade during your opponent's turn is nuts. The 1 Apples is really good. Remember, this deck actually has so many plays and what it can do. And obviously Appaloosa being one of the best negate link monsters in the game, it's obviously because you can create these insane link boards is really, really good. Now do remember that if you're making an Appaloosa plays, you can't make a Tracer play before you summon this, because Tracer does lock you into dark. So a lot of the time, if you do want to go into Tracer, if you do want to make a Tracer play, always try and summon the Appaloosa first, then go for your Tracer plays, because of the fact that it's just overall just a pretty nuts card. And I am playing the 1 copy of Access Code Talker. If you don't own Access Code Talker, just play Borosword. Borosword does absolutely fine, but me personally, I do own an Access Code Talker, so I just use my Access Code Talker. And onto the synchro monsters, we're playing the 1 Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Abyss. You tend to really be able to go into this very, very easily in comparison to, say, other decks, because of the fact that you've got your Rokket Synchron, and you're able to use your Chaotic Ruler. Now, this card is actually one of the most broken cards for this deck, and I'm actually going to explain why in a short duration for why this card is so good. This card is so damn loopy because of another card that we are playing in the extra deck. Now The whole thing with Ruler that makes it really good is just the fact that you're able to summon it back when it's summoned. You can really just, you can summon it back by banishing a light and a dark, and then, yeah, it gets banished afterwards, but if you use it for XYZ material, it goes to the graveyard again, which creates another endless loop for the next turn plays. And then we're playing the one, Borolo Savage Dragon. This is a very standard card. You tend to always use your Romulus when it comes down to this. I don't play Crystron Hulka Fibrax in this, and the main reason for why I don't is because I just feel that it just doesn't do enough in this deck. You're going to summon, say, your Rokket Synchron from the deck, but it doesn't necessarily do that much. I wouldn't really suggest playing Hulka Fibrax. It's worth playing around with if you want to play, like, I think it's Red Rose Dragon. But my opinion, I don't really see a point in, you know, using Hulka Fibrax. But this is the one meta-breaking card that is absolutely insane. Sanafond. I cannot express to you how much this card has saved my ass against decks like Phantom Knights. Now, PK right now, being able to use DPE, activating Sanafond, say going turn 2, after DPE's been used, your opponent literally cannot res it from the graveyard. It stays there and it's dead. And that is basically what this card does. It shuts down any graveyard summoning plays that are a thing. It shuts them down. There is nothing your opponent can do to stop this card. And, you know, considering it's not a quick effect, you tend to activate it during your turn. And, you know, let the plays go through, your opponent suffers, and then, you know, you go to your turn and see if you can just kill them straight away. My opinion, Sanafond, mandatory card to play in this deck because of the fact of how game breaking it can be in today's format. So that's it for the extra deck. On to the side deck, something I never really reveal. However, this tends to be like more of a very standard, you know, side deck. So I play 3 copies of Dark Ruler No More. I don't own what's it called, Droplets. If you own Droplets, I would say maybe play Droplet, but Dark Ruler No More, being able just to switch off everything on the field so you can make your crazy plays go in turn 2 is actually really, really broken. I would just highly say siding this card into the deck is just really, really good. If you have Droplet, maybe try use the Droplet, but considering this is only a you only use 1 card, this being, you know, the Dark Ruler No More, being able to switch off cards is fantastic. The only thing with it is it does not stop Scythe at all, and obviously it's because of the fact that it's not a quick effect. What you'll tend to do, obviously, is make your Droplet play, say in the draw phase, just to ensure that you can make sure that you get the access to the negating the Dagda, or negating the DP on the field before it tries to destroy the Scythe. Very, very good card in general. Triple Lancia, because we don't want our opponent to banish, especially if they're playing Tri-Brigade. Oh yeah, Sanafon stops Revolt as well, especially if they're playing something like Tri-Brigade. We do not want to see any banishes, and we want our opponents to suffer as much as possible. So Lancia is really, really good. Bird Up being probably one of the best decks at the moment is one of the best counters. Obviously, is Draw Lockbird as well. Sword Soul suffers big time from getting hit by Draw Lockbird. There is nothing your opponent can do. Moye can't draw, and obviously it takes away the aspect of being able to get the Protos. And obviously Protos is the card that is literally one of the most hated cards in the current format. I can't stand it. And, you know, I just think overall the card should just get straight up banned. It's ridiculous. But preventing your opponent from adding cards to your hand is what we need. Triple Nibbles. I prefer side decking this card rather than main decking it. I find that, you know, it actually affects me a lot more when I actually main deck it and say I'm going turn 1 and then having to Nibiru my opponent on their turn. It actually does hurt me quite a lot. And obviously, if we are using the Hieratic Seal does summon the Chambermaid, but just having a level 4 on the field in defense mode that has 0 and 0 is not good enough. And then obviously we're playing some back row removal, so I'm playing the 1 dusters and double twin twisters. Now this tends to be the how I've always played the back row removal when it comes down to any form of deck period. I just prefer always just playing the twin twisters. A cyclone is good as well if you want to play the cyclone, but getting a discard actually is really effective, especially if you have the Absoluta Dragon in your hand. Getting discarding the card, even if the twin twisters gets negated, you do have the opportunity to go for your Absoluta plays, getting an easy access to your Tracer or your Rokket Synchron, depending on what's in your graveyard. In fact, if you get the Rokket Synchron to your hand, you can actually normal summon the Rokket Synchron, add special summon the Router. Now, don't forget, Router's a level 7, and what's it called? The the Tracer is level 1, so you can instantly go into your Chaotic Ruler plays, or even just go for the Borreload Savage, depending on what turn you're on. Overall, fantastic card. I think this is a great extra deck to be playing. Anyway, leave in the comments on what you think about this deck, whether or not you like it or not. Give it a go on, say, YGO Pro or something. Try it online. And yeah, that is it for this deck profile. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe for some more videos. Hopefully, I will be getting some more videos out. I'm so sorry I haven't really been able to get these videos out. Everything's just been a bit of a mess around my life. So obviously, I should be able to get some more videos out. If you want to see some more casual decks coming up, casual profiles coming through, I'm more than happy to post those, because I really do enjoy just playing casual decks on the side of playing the meta. Anyway, my name's Alex, and I will see you guys later. Au revoir.